Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Mark, and in this video I'm going to share the number one concept I use in all of my coaching sessions and in my coaching program when it comes to you wanting to manifest anything in life. And I can already hear, did he just say anything in life? And yes, I did, and it literally is true. Because if you want to save some time, resources and energy searching for the answer, if you're the person who's still stuck and not there where you want to be, and it doesn't matter if it is weight loss, or your loving partner, or money, or any other goal you have, this concept applies to all of them, and that's why I'm so excited. So by the end of this video, you will know exactly what questions you need to be asking to get where you want to be. So stay tuned and let's start. All right, welcome back. My name is Mark. I'm a high performance coach. I help entrepreneurs and high performers getting to the next stage in their life and in their business by mastering all aspects of their health, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And this is a little bit of what I teach them. And I'm so happy to share this here for free on YouTube to hopefully help you as well. Now, I can't share everything on this channel, so therefore just go to the pinned comment in the comment box below. There you can sign up for an email list where I can share some bonuses as well. And before I forget, I have a couple of spots available for my one-to-one coaching, so if you're interested, make sure to stick around for the announcement at the end. So let's talk about this number one concept I mentioned at the very beginning, where you can be able to effortlessly manifest anything you want. And the way I'm going to do this with you is I'm going to take you through a process of what happens when someone comes to me who literally could have any kind of symptoms like brain fog, depression, they're stuck, they don't know how to get where they want to be. They're trying to manifest this big dream, but it's not coming to pass. And they're sleep deprived. Some are even taking drugs, like not drugs in the sense of ecstasy and stuff, but some sort of, nootropics in a way of trying to get going and keeping or trying to get into the flow, but they're not. And the reason why is, and this concept is, it's not a new concept, it's something called your present state and your desired state. So your present state is where you are right now, and your desired state is where you want to be later on in life. This is basically your dream, your desired state. And in between, we have a little gap. And this gap can be filled by anything. So let's say your present state is the person who says, I'm a successful entrepreneur and I want to increase my revenue for the next month. And the gap could be a strategy. I've learned something else or I saw something online. So I'm trying that to get to my desired state, which is more revenue at the end of the month. But this gap or this strategy hasn't been working. So I'm like totally stressed out. Now, what else could be the gap? Your present state is you're this entrepreneur who's trying to make more money, but then at the same time, you're sleep deprived because you're trying to implement that strategy we're talking about, and you're not getting enough sleep. So what are you looking? You're maybe taking melatonin, or you're doing some sort of thing you read somewhere else, or someone else told you to do this. That's again, bridging the gap to your desired state, sleeping better, in the hope that when I sleep better, I'm more productive to actually get to where I want to be. All right, so let's talk about the second point, the power of words. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that, and you've heard that before, that saying, I'm pretty sure about that, and in the law of attraction community and the community of manifesting, that is not a new concept. We know that words have power. That's why you have affirmations or mantras you say out loud in a positive way, because that will impact your life in a way. But that's not the whole secret. You need to know exactly what you're saying out loud, because it's fueled by, and there's a saying, you don't know what you're thinking until you're hearing what you're saying. I'll say that again. You don't know what you're thinking until you're hearing what you're actually saying. And why is that? Because what we're saying is fueled by what we believe, our values, our subconscious basically is holding all the memories in the past. And that all comes together, jumbled out as a belief, as something which forms our words when they come out. So if I ask you something about politics, or let's say about whatever topic I can think about. I use politics as an example because people have very different opinions about it. And that's all fueled. If you think about, and let's take politics for an example, because it's a very controversial topic. Some believe this, some believe this. They're very on the edge of the spectrum. And the reason why is because the beliefs, the values of the people who hold one side are so different to the ones on the other side. And that's why you have the clash of clans, so to speak, when they come together and they say, well, I think we should do this. And the other one says, no, I think we should do this, because the one person comes with one set of beliefs, values, and certain experiences they had in their past, with the other person at the same way. We talk about the map of the world. We all have a different map of the world, which is fueled by exactly the kind of things which are going on in our subconscious values and beliefs. But we'll talk about this in a second in more detail. And the easiest way to understand this, I'm going to give you a very, very easy example, is the third point. And I call this the I am versus the I do confusion. And the way I explain this to my clients is by saying, just imagine you're at a party, a networking event, or any sort of place where you're going to meet a new person. And here are two questions you're definitely going to get asked. So the first one is, if I come up to you, I'm going to say, so what's your name? And you're going to say, well, I'm Mark, or whatever your name is. And then I'm going to ask you, for sure, what do you do? And you're going to say, well, I'm a plumber, I'm a nurse, I'm a scientist, I'm a sportsman, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm XYZ. And here's where the confusion lies, because I just asked you, what do you do? And you answered, I am a plumber. Let's use the plumber as an example. I love plumbers, don't get me wrong, but for this example, I'm just going to use the plumber. Let's say the plumber is someone who doesn't want to be a plumber, he wants to be an entrepreneur. But I just asked him, so what do you do? And he said, of course, because that's his reality at the moment, he says, I am a plumber. And this is the word I am are the most two powerful words you can say when it comes to you wanting to change your identity, when you want to change where you want to go, because you need to state who you are. And if you say I'm a plumber, and if the plumber is your present state where you don't want to be, you want to be the entrepreneur, you want to be at your desired state, you need to answer this differently. You can't say I'm a plumber. You need to quote and state who you really are. And then this change will happen. But again, this is just, and one more thing to this whole concept is, once you realize this, who you are and what you do is not the same thing, you have something called choice. And this is really, once the realization is there that you have a choice, then you can make a choice. But if you think you're stuck because you feel like, where I am now, I am this plumber, and you're going on about it, and everything in your reality reflects you're a plumber, you're going to stay there for the rest of your life. And that's why once you realize what you do, it's a job. Being a plumber is not who you are, because I am Mark. I am not the plumber, okay? And once you're Mark, you can choose plumber or you can choose entrepreneur. And then you step into entrepreneur, and then you become the entrepreneur. That's how powerful this concept is. And this concept is called logical levels. So let's look at this in more detail. Now let's talk about the logical levels concept I've been sort of teasing since the beginning of this video, where you're going to be able to manifest anything in life. And I know this was this bold statement, but once you understand this concept and you know on which level you are and what question to ask, it will make your life so easy when it comes to manifesting. Now, logical levels is something Robert Dilts invented. And little story here on the side, I'm kind of a junkie when it comes to, learning and development, self-development. So I had the pleasure to actually learn this concept from Robert Dilts himself. And at the time, that's 12 years ago, I did my, NLP master's degree. And at that time, he was teaching this module, and I didn't even know who he was until, and that's what I really like, is when people are not too blunt about their achievements, but he's a really icon when it comes to neuro-linguistic programming like NLP and coaching style teachings. But what is really interesting is that at the time when I learned this whole concept from him, the top bit of this pyramid did not exist. So I'm really happy and pleased to share this with you today. It's not new, he has shared that as well, but for now, this will all make sense once we go through this. So let's talk about the logical levels concept. And I'm so excited to share this because once you understand this and once you know on which level you are, what question you're asking will make manifestation for you effortlessly easy. I promise. So let's go. I'm going to use an example of an entrepreneur who is at his present state, let's say at a 50K month or a 5K month. Let's take a 5K month. And he wants to do something like a really big dream. He has a 100K month. He wants to really do 100K, but he's at 5K. Okay. So that's his present state. He wants to get to this sort of number where he's like, oh my God, I don't know if I ever hit this, but it's a big dream. Robert Dilts came up with initially 5 levels. He said you have your environment, your behaviors, your capabilities, values, beliefs, identity, and the new ones were spirit and purpose. What else is important? that all of this is happening in your head. These are all questions you're asking yourself, and the answer, the outcome, is either conscious or unconscious. So your environment is a very conscious sort of place or decision. So questions would be, in terms of the entrepreneur, he would say, where am I going to meet my client? And when I'm going to meet my client is definitely your environment. The next stage, which would be your behavior, is what am I going to do when I'm going to meet the client, is your behavior. And this is where most business happens, between your environment and behavior. But your behavior could also be unconscious. You could have an unconscious, unhealthy behavior. That you might have heard that term when it comes to weight loss, for example. You said you've got this unhealthy behavior of, I don't know, eating cookies in the jar, and you don't even know you're doing it, because that is also called a habit. Now, the next level he came up with is your capabilities. And your capabilities is more or less unconscious, because it's how people do certain things. Let's take an athlete who is the best at his field, at the top of his game. And you would ask him, so how do you do what you're doing? Like, how are you sprinting 100 meters in under 10 seconds, right? And he might explain, yeah, I do this, I don't know, I just run, or whatever he says. And that's why the how is super interesting, but it doesn't give you the clue of what you need to do to get here. The how is good, but it's not the clue to getting here. You're going to see this in a second. So the capability is very much unconscious. Your beliefs and values is your why. And we're going to go into this in more depth. But your values and beliefs are also very much unconscious or subconscious, meaning that beliefs, you also need to ask, which belief is it? Because as a child, you might have a belief about money. And this is very common, like money doesn't grow on trees, or these kind of beliefs, like negative beliefs about money. And maybe it wasn't your belief. Maybe it was your father's or your mother's or your grandma's or your best friend's, but it wasn't yours. So again, like I told you at the beginning, once you have the choice of, well, this isn't, it was the belief of my dad. It wasn't my belief. So therefore, now you have a choice to choose something new, and a new why, which will open up a total new frontier when it comes to where you are on the scale. But we'll move up. The really important one is your identity, is the who. It's the one question, the really philosophical question, who am I? And in terms of the entrepreneur, this is what I do in my programs as well. It's called identity shifting, is when you know who you need to become. And that's the question you need to ask. Who I need to become to earn 100K a month? Like, what is this business owner doing on a daily basis compared to me at the moment in my present state? What is he doing differently? When he gets up, what is he doing? And then the why, how, what, and where becomes more or less obvious, because once you understand who you are, then what he's doing and what he's believing is sort of making sense. You can basically do the top down. And what else we do, and this is really interesting, and a lot of my clients have that, is they get to the 100K month, and then they say, so now what? And this is when you haven't tackled the top bit, is your purpose and spirit. It's basically the question, for whom are you doing it, and for what are you doing it? It's like, it's something bigger than you. It's why you're here on earth. Like, what are you here to do? And that is your purpose. And once you get these two aligned, and that's why it's this crossing is the magical cross here on this whole spectrum, that is where the magic happens. And once you got that right, we basically, in our coaching program, work the top down, not the bottom up. And that's what most people do who are here, stuck here. They're all working here. They're all thinking of what I need to do and how I need to do this. And let's use an example of the entrepreneur again. The entrepreneur, the 5K entrepreneur, is doing his stuff, his behaviors. He's doing behavior in terms of, I'm calling clients, I'm doing on a daily basis what I need to do. I'm coaching clients. Whatever the job of the person is. Let's say he has a coaching business, so he's coaching people. And now he realizes he has a friend who's doing Google AdWords or Facebook ads, and he says, oh my God, he's doing Facebook ads. So I should be asking him how he's doing that. So I'm going to my friend and saying, well, look, I've seen you do this, capability thing here in terms of ads. Teach me. So now he's already thinking quite smartly, what else is it he should be doing? And then he's asking how, but now he comes into a conflict, because what he realizes is that maybe I should also do an agency of Facebook ads. Or maybe I should do trading. Maybe I should do drop shipping. Maybe I should do whatever you come up with, because the how of this person, let's say the AdWord company is doing 100K and you're doing 5K with your coaching business, you might be thinking, maybe I should do this ad agency thing, because that actually shows, because once he shows me how, I know what to do and where to do it, so I'm going to do 100K. And out of experience, I can tell you, if you do it that way, you're going to be running around looking for the next best thing, and you're not going to get anywhere. So what do they teach you next? They teach you next, focus on the why. Now let's deep dive into the why. It's a little X course, and then we'll come back to this. Okay, so let's have a look at values and beliefs. This is super interesting, and I could do another whole video just on this topic, but I'm going to try to frame it very, very easy and concise. Why is asking a why question so important? Let's have a look. First of all, what happens when you ask a why question? There are three answers you can get. Someone can answer the why question with a value, or with a belief, or with both. So let me give you an example. I'm asking someone, so why do you want to make money? And the person, or the entrepreneur, right? And he says, well, I want to feel more security, or I want to have some freedom. Now you heard the word, you heard security and freedom. One word is your value. So why do you want XYZ? So why do you want money? And this is A, they will answer with a value, because I want freedom, I want certainty, I want security. These are all things, these are values of someone. So asking a why question will definitely give you values. And why are values important? Because in terms of an entrepreneurial world, if you work with other people, if you have a mismatch in values, a lot of time as someone, let's say you both want to make money, but your value is security, freedom, and loyalty, for example. It doesn't have to do anything with money per se, but you have a value of loyalty. And the person you're working with, he also wants to be free, secure, and so on and so forth, but he portrayed you in some sort of way. And now your value of, loyalty has been broken, therefore the relationship cannot work anymore. That's the power of values. Now the next thing you can now sort of, it's called chunking down, or getting to the nitty gritty of things. If you now ask, if you want to know the belief behind a value, you will ask, so why is security important to you? Well, it's important to me because then I'm able to feed my family. And that's your belief behind it. To be able to feed your family is your belief behind security. Or, why is freedom important? Because when I have more freedom, I'm going to be able to travel the world and, see places I have never seen before and only on TV. Or, why is freedom important? Because I feel like I can then help other people. And that's when we come back to our purpose. So that's why value and belief is so, so crucial and important. And that's how you can also question beliefs. Why is this belief important? And now, this is how also Robert Dilts likes to think about a value. A value is mostly one word. It's like I said, security, freedom, love, relationship, whatever. It could be one word. Most of the time it is one word. So you've got a one-word value. And now you want to figure out, what is the belief around this value? Let's say it's security, all right? We'll take security for money or freedom. And then the first question you can ask in terms of, the first question down here is, how do you know you are secure? Like, how do you know you've got it? How do you know you have freedom? How do you know you are secure? That's a belief behind that. He will answer with a belief. I know I'm secure when I have this or that. The next question you can ask is, what will it do for you when you have it? This is sort of the cause of the value. So let's say you want security and you're basically future pacing. You're asking, so what will it do when you are secure? And then you will then again have a belief, been answered. Then you could ask, what makes you secure? Like, what leads to this value is basically, okay, what makes me secure? If I know I have that much money in my bank account, belief, okay? And then the last question, or not the last, but another question you can ask is, what does it mean to be secure? Or what does it mean to have freedom? The meaning behind a value also gives you a belief. And this is wrapping this whole thing up. It's just giving you an overall insight of what and why it's so important to ask the exact right why questions at what point to figure out what values and what beliefs you have. And we do this in our coaching program, or in my coaching program, to figure out also limiting beliefs, because beliefs you have are not always serving you. For example, when we come to money or weight loss or relationships, you will always have something limiting you to get where you want to be. And most of the time, we figure out that the belief which is holding you back has mostly not been your own. And once you can dissociate yourself from that belief, knowing, well, it's not me, believing that the belief is something else, it just has been ingrained into my head, I have the choice now to believe whatever I want to believe, or reframe it. And this is something I help my clients to do. Now, let's have a look at the logical levels again. Okay, so back to logical levels. We discussed values and beliefs in depth. Now you know when you ask a why question, why you're asking a why question, to figure out your beliefs and values, which are super important when it comes to where you are in terms of your present state and your desired state. So the person, and now we come to the identity level, and the identity shifting we do with our clients is we ask, so who does this person need to become? Like, who and how does he need to act in terms of what behavior is this person doing? So if you look at the present state and you look over here and you would write down on each level what the person is doing over here, like environment, where is he doing it? What is this 5K business owner doing? What capabilities? How is he doing it? Like, what beliefs and values does this person have? And what identity does he have? And especially for whom and what is he doing it? Compared to, and this is where the whole shift happens in our coaching program, is when we then figure out the desired state. So the first question in the coaching program is, what do you want? What do you really want? And it's basically saying, I want this 100K month. Okay, so you're clear on your goal, more or less. Then we look at, does that align with your purpose and who you are? Like, who do you need to become to get to this 100K month if you were a 5K month owner? And at the same time, like, maybe for whom and for what you're doing it is, someone who's doing a 5K month and a 100K month cannot be the same. It's definitely a bigger purpose, someone who's doing a 100K month than someone who's doing a 5K month. Because 5K, let's face it, will just more or less be able to serve your own needs, whereas if you earn a 100K a month, you have some cash aside to help others, if that's your purpose. If there's something, let's say you want to teach others of what you've done, or you want to give back, or whatever, right? So this could be your bigger thing, having an impact on the world. And then we work down. We say, okay, so who do you need to become to do this? Like, what does this person believe? That's also really interesting. What kind of beliefs does this person need to have to be able to, let's say Elon Musk wants to, colonize Mars. What kind of belief does he need to have? He needs to have the belief it is possible, right? That's one of the biggest beliefs he needs to have, because everyone says it's impossible, so he believes it is possible. And that's why his why is so strong, but he also comes from the top down. He wants to colonize, he wants to have a multi-planetary system when we think of our species. Now, going down, like, how do you need to do certain things if you're a 100K owner? What kind of things are you doing, and where are you doing it? So this becomes effortlessly easy, and that's what I'm trying to teach you in this video, that you start from the top down, not from the bottom up, and then everything becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, so to speak. So let's have a look at what we've discussed so far in this video. At the beginning, I taught you this concept of present state, desired state, that there's a gap, and your present state is your now, where you are, and your desired state is your future, where you want to be. Then we talked about the power of words, like literally what you're speaking is determining what you're thinking, your beliefs, your values, and your unconscious programming is coming up and going through your mouth. The sentence was, I don't know what you're thinking, I don't know what I'm thinking, unless I'm hearing what I'm saying. That's the power of words. Then I took the example of I am to versus I do, with the party example. When you go there and someone asks you, so what's your name and what are you doing? And you mostly answer with, I am what I don't want to be. Let's say the 5K owner saying, yeah, I've got this little business and that's who I am. Whereas saying, I'm the 100K owner, bang. Okay, so that's the difference. And then logical levels. super quick recap: environment, behavior, capability, values, belief, identity, spirit, and purpose. And we do the top down rather than the bottom up when you're at the present state versus the desired state. And lastly, we had a deep dive into what are actual values and beliefs and how do you ask certain questions to figure that out. So why do you want certain things is a one-word answer, is your value. And why is the value important to you will give you your belief behind the value. And once you know your value and the surrounding beliefs, like where does this value take you, and how do you get to the value, and what does it mean, and how do you know you've got it, we'll wrap this whole thing up. Well, I sincerely hope this video was helpful. If you think you want some more help, I do coaching on one-to-one basis. Make sure in the description below there will be a link to apply for a consult with me or one of my team members. I'm happy to take you through. It's just an exploratory sort of call. We'll see if we're a good fit or not. And yeah, I hope you got value out of this video. Make sure to leave a thumbs up, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment if there's anything I missed or if you want to add something to this. I'm super excited about what you think about it, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Take care.